Hello and welcome to Stampscaping 101. We're going to be doing a quick version of a Halloween-inspired, composition scenario. One of the things that I do with certain types of Halloween-inspired pieces is to go with kind of more of an aged, sepia-toned, print-looking color scheme. And I thought starting with the pre-printed vintage style of paper might give me a good head start to it because that already kind of looks like that, aged looking color scenario. All right, so on this paper, there's a lot of different papers like this, okay? I'm going to recommend going with a pigment ink. I'm going with my Black Brilliance. You might try like a VersaFine Clear. Re-ink before you kind of utilize it, I think, because this paper is kind of it's a little bit resistant to a lot of inks because it's already been pre-printed with this, vintage, or antique looking scenario. So it even, although it looks bare, all of that has been printed over the top of it. So sometimes those printing inks can act as a little bit of a resist. It's really meant to put through your, like laser printers, inkjet printers to print things on. But we're trying it here in a stamping scenario. All right, so see that right there? I mean, it's not that dark. I mean, I got a decent impression out of it, but I did lay a lot of ink over the top of it, so keep that in mind. Okay, and let's go for a couple foreground impressions here. I should probably re-ink this. Let's see if I can get enough ink on here. Yeah, that looks pretty wet. Well, let's see how it goes. This one I'm going to have coming from off the page onto the paper like that. You can have it all completely on the paper if you want to. Holding this down, kind of allowing the ink to transfer. Kind of to dry and transfer a little bit. It starts setting up pretty fast. Okay, excellent. I guess there is quite a bit of ink on this pen. I think I re-inked it not too long ago. All right, so only stamping about half of it on both sides, but I did re-ink the whole thing just because I didn't know exactly where that was going to go. And we have something like that. Okay. Now, all right. So if I'm stamping this in a high noon scenario or something like that with blue waters and a blue sky or something like that, and I don't know, whatever clouds up in the sky too, that, you might stamp, I don't know, someone out here on a rowboat or a fishing boat or someone fishing with a fish here in the foreground or something like that, ducks in the water, whatever you want, okay? But to make it more of like a kind of a, a ghoulish type of scenario, you can put some hands in the water like that. Okay. And when I do something like this, I'm reminded of the movie Deliverance at the end of the movie that really scared me as a kid. I thought it was pretty spooky. And, you can put anything down here. It could be, for a Halloween, like a grim looking scenario, it could be a skeleton or something like that. Could be if you want it happy, it could be a skeleton, I don't know, whatever, ice skating down there or something like that, or dancing on the water. Doesn't have to be grim, okay? We're just doing that for this scenario, just for, I don't know, to have some fun. Okay, put it like this. I don't know if they're drowning or, someone's like rising to the surface or something like that. These are by a 100 proof press, P4813 and P4814. I think, the last time I checked, 100 proof press, luckily for us, is still around. A lot of companies aren't. Okay, let's add a little bit of a additional foreground in here, okay, with these reeds. like so. These trees aren't really in scale for those hands, but you know, who cares? These types of scenarios, I mean, they're supposed to be fun, right? Or you could, you know, you could put little kayakers like that right there, or fishermen, and it's like, you know, someone coming from below, you know what I mean, to grab them or something like that. I don't know. Although the hands are kind of facing us here, but you know, you can do any kind of little fun little scenario. This is what this might look like here, you know. I think that'd be pretty cool. It's like some kind of giant or something like that coming from the depths. Okay, so now we have to add a little bit of shading to this. I'm going to use, I practiced with this little cosmetic sponge today, and I thought it worked excellent. Let's try it again here. I used a gray and a light kind of a warm tone with it today. I'll just go with a little bit of black up here. And it's, well, this little sponge. This sponge, I've been using paper towels just because I know, you know, if you're a stamper in, you know, the US, or if you're a stamper in, I don't know, wherever, you know, on the other side of the world, everyone has access to paper towels. But these things too, you can get these anywhere, I would think, anywhere around the world, you know, with no problem. So I might start using these quite a bit. I think it, I don't know, it's like a bigger version of like a stylus tool. Because I think it's the same sponge, at least on this brand. I don't know. I think they're a little bit different, but you know, they all might work, you know, similarly good. Well, okay, so I'm putting a vignette. Yeah, I'm trying to make a strong vignette around this. Making the area around it darker. And that brings the focus of attention in towards the, you know, whatever the stars of the scene, which are those, are hands and cabin in the background. So, oh, I don't know, fun stuff. Okay, so I think that getting some shadow work in here, I don't think this is going to be as conducive as kind of a colored pencil, which I can get right in here, and I'll just add a little bit of shadow, you know, to the base of the hands in here, so it looks like the hands are now kind of in the water. When I got older, I watched Deliverance, and I noticed that hand looks really fake. Which I think my brother or someone told me when I was little. Kevin, you know, don't get too scared. You know, look how fake it looks. You know what I mean? But that doesn't matter. It looked real enough to me. I don't know when I saw it. We didn't see it in the theater or anything like that. I was too young, but I don't know, spooky stuff. Okay, adding a little bit of shading on the palm too. Like that. That kind of cracks me up. All right, so I have a little paint pen here, and something I've been doing on these quick scenes is just adding a little bit of lighting into the scenario. It just makes things kind of pop out a little bit more, especially on this type of paper, you know, where you have kind of established lighting, or lights and darks, I should say. So just putting a little bit of a light in this window in the background. Let me see, was this the pen that I was using for that? I'm not quite sure. It looks a little bit darker for some reason to me this time. Might have been this one right here. I was going to say this one might be a little bit lighter. White, yeah, I don't want to use white on this one. It's a little bit too light, I think. I want this to be kind of, I don't want the top end of the lighting scheme, I don't think. You know, with like white. Okay, I'll put a little bit of a lighting on some of these rocks, and then down in the reflection in the water. And I have drawn in the reflections on the stamp itself, okay? So if you look closely at your impressions, you'll see, you know, that reflection right down here. Let's see, let's transition this a little bit more. Like so. So we have our little bit of lighting back there. Let's put a little bit of highlighting on these fingers, on this wet hand coming out of the water. All right, see, something like that. Makes the hands look a little bit more dimensional. And okay, so here's what I'm also going to do. See back in this shadow area, or down in here, what you do is you do that little fun little thing is you put these little eyeballs, these little pair of eyes together like this. Like there's this little, it's like the Scooby-Doo kind of, you know, I don't know, whatever, you know, lurking in the shadows type of, you know, little creation right in there, like that. And I'll put some in the background like this. If you ever have something like a deer or something like that, you give it these kind of glowing eyes too. And I don't know, it kind of completes the look. Instead of stars or something like that I would normally have in a scene, you have these little kind of creatures like this. All right, I'm going to get this mounted and we'll take a look and see what it looks like. All right, there we have it. Gold is a little bit bright, but I don't know. You do see some gold in that purple. Well, maybe it's orange and purple, but you do see some that goldish look with kind of a Halloween types of decor out there sometimes. And I don't know, I just feel that this paper right here, it does look really aged, and I really like the look of this gold foil around it when I do it. You know, this gold foil, I mean, outside of like, you know, really bright kind of reflections on it, you know, otherwise it's relatively dark, you know, for the most part. So I think it kind of pairs really well with this paper. Okay, so anyways, we got this kind of interesting scenario here. Yeah, I was originally thinking about it coming out of the ocean or something like that, but I don't know, I thought, well, maybe we'll just go with the lake right now and, you know, take a look and see what that looks like with that. But these hands like this would be kind of interesting with like a shipwreck in the background or something of that sort. Maybe with the, you know, the seaside cove again, you know, out in the ocean scenario like that. But hands like this, you know, I mean, to me that, you know, it's a, I don't know, it's a scenario of dread, you know, and we have these little fun applications of little eyeballs in the shadows. In other scenarios, maybe I would do orbs or something like that, or just highlights out here. But in this case, they're, a couple dots paired together, and spread throughout those darker areas, kind of awakening those darker areas in some way, and hopefully in kind of an interesting way, and in this case, a thematic way with kind of Halloween in mind. That little orb sponge kind of leaves an interesting patterning. Okay, so hope you enjoyed the scene. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully gives you some ideas potentially for some kind of your Halloween scenario. Doesn't even have to have those hands down there. I mean, you could put, whatever else you want in here. You can do it like I said, like a deer or something like that, but give it those spooky kind of, ominous looking eyes, glowing eyes or something of that sort. And you'll get that spirit of the, I don't know, whatever, a little bit of a darker kind of edge to your pieces. If you start off with the pre-printed vintage papers, just test, go through your different inks and test for compatibility and how they'll work out on those. Okay, thanks for watching again. And if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comments section. Always love hearing from you.